All right, how's it going, guys? And today I want to share this idea, which is that you are already naked. You have nothing to lose. Now, obviously, I don't mean that literally, pause, right? But this idea comes from, at least where I got it from, was Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs has always been a source of inspiration and wisdom for me. And in his commencement speech, he mentions how death is the most important tool to be able to realize that you have nothing to lose. And then right after, he says you are already naked. And I've been sort of thinking about this, what he meant by that. And the other day, I also heard Mac Miller, another fantastic artist, um, say something like sharing his music is like, standing naked in front of a stage, and you have to be willing to be vulnerable with, the people that you share your music with. And, it takes that level of vulnerability where it's almost like you're standing naked in front of a stage. And, for me, it reminded me of that Steve Jobs quote. And really, I think it's a really powerful idea. If you really realize that there is nothing that you can hide in this life, that no matter what, all your truths are going to show. Everything is already exposed, right? Everything, all your flaws, all your secrets, all your truths, all your strengths, weaknesses, your whole story, everything is already exposed. And so there's nothing to hide. And for me, I don't know, it gives me at least a sense of freedom that it's like, wait, like, why am I trying to hide who I am? Or, because a lot of times the ego wants to act like we have something to lose. But when really we don't, we have nothing to lose at all. And so, we try to act all cool, or we try to put on this facade and, live life a certain way. But once you realize that you are already vulnerable, like there's nothing you can do, you're already here. And it's like as if you are already naked. It's like, oh shit, I'm already vulnerable. Like I can die tomorrow. Then, you realize, like, you know what, like, I'm gonna just try to get comfortable in my skin and be who I am. And I think it's a really powerful idea, especially just thinking about it in the way that Mac Miller said, which is like, it's like being on stage and you're already naked. It's like, yeah, okay, like if I think about that in my daily life, like, oh shit, like I'm already like naked, I'm already vulnerable. Well, damn, well, there's nothing to hide. I might as well just be myself and say the things I want to say, express how I want to feel, like, live true to myself. And because at the end of the day, those things are already exposed, they're already going to come out. And so, I just think it's a really powerful message, a really powerful wisdom. And, I've always used death as, not always, but, you know, I've used death a lot to really reflect on my purpose and the important things in life, but adding this sort of vulnerability and this sort of like naked, idea or whatever, I think it's just really powerful, and it adds more insight into the wisdom. And for me, I think a big thing that, I'm trying to learn and practice is like trying to be more vulnerable, or trying to be okay with being vulnerable. Like I think a lot of people are not really vulnerable in our society. They usually take the safe route. They usually choose the safest options. They just want to be secure. But it's really in the vulnerability and taking those risky choices that, deep down you want to take, instead of taking that safe and secure option. And I think that's really where the treasure is, in taking those risky and vulnerable choices, whether that comes to the words you use, whether that comes to you know, the the fit you choose for the day, or how you carry yourself, or what career you choose, or who you hang out with, whatever it is. Um, after whatever it is, it's important to stay true to yourself. And right after he says that you're already naked, he says, there's no reason not to follow your heart. And it's so true. There's no reason to choose that safe option when everything is going to be, when everything's already there exposed for you. And so my shoulder's getting tired. And so, yeah, I just thought it was really powerful wisdom, and I felt like sharing it today already. Like, you are already naked. There's nothing to hide from. Embrace yourself. Embrace your weirdnesses. All your weirdnesses. Embrace your weirdness. Embrace that you're broken or flawed. And embrace that whatever it is, right? Whatever you feel shy about or that you've been trying to hide, just embrace it. Because at the end of the day, we all have flaws. We all have our own stories. We all have our own hiccups, mistakes, and it's only once you can admit those mistakes, embrace your own flaws, is when you can actually start to change and start to live in peace. Because if you keep resisting the mistakes and the flaws, then you'll never really get to peace, the peace that you're really seeking. And you'll never really discover who you truly are. And so, yeah, man, you are already naked. You have nothing to lose. There's no reason not to follow your heart. Shout out Mac Miller. Shout out Steve Jobs. And yeah, man, that's all I felt like saying for today. So hope you guys stay blessed. Stay at peace. Take care of yourselves. All that good, amazing, beautiful stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.